Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm looking at is subsequence. So given two strings, let's get these strings out here in the open where we can see them. We got this one, and we got this one. Now we're going to check if all these characters are contained within the larger one. So the conditions, all the letters in S are in T, and same order. So number one, all the letters are there. All the letters in T, all the letters in S are in T. And number two, they're in the same order. So this was found under the two-pointer solution in LeetCode 75. So basically we're going to be looking at each letter in both strings. Get ready for this. At the same time. What? Let S pointer. Let T pointer. I don't know. You gotta name variables, good. Let the small one. Let the big one. I feel like that's more intuitive. So the small pointer, 0. Because we're looking at the indexes of both of them. And now we're going to look and compare the indexes. And so we're going to access indexes, and we're going to move the pointers conditionally, but we're not going to move them for the same conditions. Different conditions for the small one and the big one. So what I mean by that is we're going to look at A, and if we find it, great. But if we don't find it, we're going to increment T. We're going to increment the big pointer, and we're going to keep incrementing it until we find it. Okay, so first off, small, let's see, S small, check for equality, equals T big. In the case it's a match, then so if A and A is a match, then we move to the next letter in the small one, because, so move small pointer to see if the next one is 2. If the next one is a match 2, then that's great. So small pointer, move it. You gotta move it. And then I just lost a lot of the audience there. Who cares though? I don't care. Okay, let's see. So we move the pointer and we do it again. We want to keep doing this. So, So if we find it, in the case it's a match, move the small pointer and compare it again. Maybe we need a for loop or a while loop. While this is not equal to t, keep it moving. If it's equal to t, maybe a for loop is okay. How about we do a for of loop for letter of big, because we're just trying to keep it moving. Yeah, I don't, because it doesn't have anything to do with my comparison. So I don't think this is gonna be a problem. Just do this multiple times, please, is all we're asking the computer to do with this for loop. Okay. So the small one will be incremented if we find it. Okay, so let's look at this. So for letter of the big one, so basically the size of the larger one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll do this a total of 6 times. But it's dynamic, so it'll do differently each time. Time 1. The value at that index of 0 in the small one is indeed A. Okay, so small, we move you. And so now we're checking about B. So if B is equal to the big one, of the value at the big pointer did not move. Okay, wait a second. We find a match. A and A are a match. If it's not a match, big pointer gets moved. If it's not a match, check the next number. Okay. And so we go to the, but it is a match the first time. So the pointer for the small one gets moved to B. And we find it's not a match, so big gets moved. And big is now looking at H. It's not a match, so we do this again, and big gets moved again, and it's a match. So small gets moved. It's C. C is not a match for B, so big gets moved to G, and then to D, and then to C, and in that case it's a match. And I think that's enough. But we need to return a Boolean value. So let's get to the end of this. That's the else. That's the for loop. End of for loop. So please return. So what is a Boolean value? It's true or false. But statements can also be Boolean values. You can write a statement that, such as like, this is equal to that, and the value of that statement can be false with computers. So in this case, we moved 2 pointers. So we can check if we found all of how many times we moved the small pointer, for example. So if we moved the small pointer for the same amount of times as we have letters in S, then that means that we found all the letters, and not only that, we found them in order. So return s.length equal to small. So that should return a Boolean value. I'm going to change it out. Wait a second. Of course, this is the pointer. We want T. For letter of T is what I should have written, what I meant to write, but I didn't. Okay, so now it's fine. So in this case, we find all the letters. Expected true, output false. Output false. I wonder why. Okay, so let's look at this. For letter of T, if the letter of S at index 0 is equal to the letter of T at index 0, we move the pointer. The small pointer becomes 1. So in that case, we're looking at B. And we have not incremented the big one, so it's still A. So it's not equal, so we increment the big one. This S is still B. S is still looking at B. And T moves to H. It's not equal. We move it to B. Now it's equal. Small gets moved to C. C is not equal to B. It's not equal to G. It's not equal to D. But it is equal to C. So in that case, the index of the small becomes 3. Sorry, I wasn't doing that. And that point, we're out of the loop, and we return s.length. S.length is 3, and the small pointer should have been incremented 3 times, because it gets incremented when we find a match, and we find a match 1, 2, 3. So poor K. Poor K. We remove the big pointer. We're already iterating. Okay. Big pointer. Bye-bye. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.